So the first way to send data to the server is to supply an explicit string to the data property of the AJAX options object. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's just a little tedious to call escape each time on the text field values. So jQuery has an alternative where you can supply an object instead. Params is an anonymous object. And the idea is that the property names of this anonymous object, the field names, automatically become the parameter names, and then the values become the parameter values, but it's automatically URL encoded. So behind the scenes, it's not sending the anonymous object to the server. It's sending a parameter string with name-value pairs with ampersands and equal signs, just as before. But it builds it for you out of the object. And in particular, it automatically URL encodes the values. So the result that gets sent to the server is the same as before, but you don't have to call escape. And you do have to build an object first instead of just an explicit string, but I think it's more than made up for by the fact that you don't have to call escape on the values. So again, the values normally are not hard-coded. They come from text fields or other input elements. And the point is that you don't have to call escape. All right, so here's an example very similar to the previous one, but now I build an anonymous object, and I supply that object as the value of the data property of $.ajax. The property names must match the parameter names that the server expects, but the property values do not have to be explicitly URL encoded. jQuery will do that automatically. So if I'm going to look for text fields of a particular ID, I need to make sure they have that ID. And again, try it interactively in Firebug before you try to deploy this JavaScript program. So very similar to the previous example, I supply an object instead of a string, but I didn't have to call escape. So this example behaves in an exactly identical manner to the previous example. I say hello server. It sends that to the little JSP program, and the JSP program gets the parameters because I explicitly and specifically named them param1 and param2. And even though I didn't call escape in my JavaScript code, I can send ampersands and special characters because when you supply a data object to the data property of the AJAX object, the values are automatically URL encoded.